Make no mistake, if you awoke this morning without providing your mind explicit instructions about finances, you've already sealed the agreement for destitution. Every dollar you forfeited, every chance that slipped past you, every instant of fiscal suffering you've experienced was not coincidence. It was your consciousness following the directive you unconsciously issued it. I am not here to console you. I am not here to praise your mediocrity or to help you feel satisfied about scarcity. I am here to deliver you the precise blueprint to dictate wealth every morning before the world has an opportunity to make you its servant again. Every millionaire I've encountered, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, utilized this formula, and every destitute man I've known disregarded it. Today you have the decision. Listen attentively, absorb the secret ritual, and dominate your finances, or decline and remain a captive to someone who will. This address will offend the feeble. It will disturb the inactive. It will enrage the comfortable. Good. Comfort never constructed an empire. Rage is the beginning of genuine prosperity. If you're courageous enough, if you're prepared to reclaim your monetary power, keep listening. But I caution you, once you comprehend this, you can never again accuse the world for your poverty. Your prosperity or absence of it will be entirely on your shoulders. The initial thought that penetrates your consciousness in the morning is not a trivial thing. It is the director of the entire day. For your mind, when awakened from slumber, is most receptive to guidance. In that sacred first hour, you either emerge as a master of riches, or you submit again to scarcity and terror. If the thought is unclear, the day will be wasteful. If the thought is feeble, the day will yield to stronger men. But if the thought is precise, clear, and infused with a purpose toward wealth, then even before you clothe yourself or communicate or move, your riches have begun to materialize in the invisible. Grasp this clearly. Thought is the predecessor of all wealth. Before gold manifests in the hand, it manifests in the mind. Before opportunity arrives at your door, it emerges first in the palace of your creativity. Before the banker acknowledges your name, your soul must acknowledge its own worth. Therefore, what you contemplate in the morning is not opinion, it is prophecy. A man who allows fear, frustration, or exhaustion to breach the gates of his consciousness at dawn is already behind. Before he takes a single step, he has informed his subconscious. We are impoverished, feeble, and uncertain. And that mind, compliant, like a faithful but thoughtless assistant, will execute that instruction. But you are not such a man. You are an architect of thought, a ruler of wealth, a leader of inner discipline. The first act upon rising must be the verbal repetition of your definite chief objective, especially as it pertains to the riches you require of life. Not in casual muttering, not in tired whisper, but in confident, clear tone, as if you were addressing the infinite. Stand, articulate, and declare aloud, "I am a magnet for legitimate riches. I summon them by name. They obey me because I think clearly, communicate boldly, and act decisively." Articulate these words, not because they mirror your current situation, but because they generate your future reality. The subconscious consciousness responds not to what is observed, but to what is rehearsed with conviction. You must envision wealth before you are wealthy. You must journey in riches before you possess them. You must exist in abundance before the world bestows it to you. And this all commences in the morning hour, when the world is still quiet and your soul is nearest to its own capability. Do not assume that money responds to labor alone. It does not. Millions toil tirelessly and remain impoverished. Money does not serve the man who only moves. It assists the man who commands. Labor without direction is like a vessel with no compass, but a mind filled with intention, issuing clear directive, becomes a harbor toward which wealth naturally flows. Recall Henry Ford. Long before he manufactured a single automobile, he possessed the entire blueprint in his consciousness. He contemplated not upon obstacles, but upon completion. He arose each day with the vision of success already finished. It was constructed in thought before it was constructed in iron. If you envision wealth, you will move differently. Your tone will carry authority. Your choices will slice through confusion. Others will sense something they cannot identify. The vibration of a man who understands where he is heading. Let no thought of restriction penetrate your consciousness in the first hour. Let no self-pity, no worry, no cluttered plans spoil the day's field. You are planting seeds, and if those seeds are sown with terror, the harvest will decay before noon. Instead, proclaim aloud, "I am the guardian of all riches yet to arrive. I am worthy, I am capable, and I am in motion. My thoughts are synchronized with the law of increase." Every day you arise and rehearse this practice, your subconscious adjusts its compass. Every time you articulate your definite chief objective before the sun emerges, your life shifts 1 degree closer to prosperity. Beware the lazy morning. It is not merely unproductive, it is hazardous. If you commence the day in drift, that drift becomes the habit. And no man who drifts ever governs money. The drifter fears obligations. The man of purpose controls wealth. This is not fantasy. It is principle. It is how men ascend, how empires are erected, how ordinary voices become legends. And it all commences with the initial thought of the morning. Let others awaken to noise, to rumors, to anxiety. You awaken to strength. Let others rise late and stumble through distraction. You rise early and move with intention. Let others examine the news or count their worries. You declare wealth into existence, and when they inquire why you progress, while they remain stuck, you will understand. It began not with currency, but with a morning thought shaped by determination. Repeat now with boldness and conviction. Today, I contemplate only of expansion. I sow only seeds of gold. I move as one already entrusted with riches. I commence my fortune in the first breath of the morning. This is the principle. This is your journey. This is the first discipline. And if you follow it, wealth must respond. For thought is the foundation of all riches, and your first thought each day shall now be prosperity. Riches do not arrive to the man who pleads. They do not manifest for the man who wishes. They obey the man who directs. And direction is not a noise. It is a ceremony, a framework, a pattern of belief enforced through daily practice, morning after morning, until the invisible becomes visible and the unseen becomes inevitable. Every morning must commence with your wealth command ritual. Not on some mornings, not when you feel like it, but every morning as a man attends to his responsibilities. For wealth is your obligation, and it will never surpass the standard you issue with your voice and consciousness before the day begins. Begin before the world begins. Emerge before the noise has a chance to penetrate. This is your sacred hour. No interruptions, no diversions, no delays. The wealthy man is not rich in currency alone. He is rich in self-control. Your first step is to articulate your definite chief objective loudly, clearly, with posture, with pace, with breath. It is not enough to have a goal written. It must be vocalized aloud, in the same way one would address to a great army before battle. Then proclaim the sum you desire. Do not communicate in vague language. Be specific. Be definite. If you desire $50,000 in 12 months, say so. If you require $200,000 by the end of the quarter, identify the figure, declare it into law, then state what you will provide in return. Nothing for nothing is the principle of failure. All riches are obtained by rendered service. Articulate aloud what value you shall deliver, what problem you resolve, what labor you shall execute, what idea you are refining. Proclaim your offering to the marketplace. Next, identify the time and approach. By the first day of January, I shall have obtained amount through the rendering of service or product. The universe responds not to unclear intentions, but to announced timelines and strategies. Now, seal the ceremony with conviction. Say this: I require riches in definite terms. I have determined the price. I have established the time. My consciousness obeys. My world responds. This is your daily agreement. A spiritual contract written not in ink, but in tone, not in paper, but in the subconscious. This ceremony done faithfully reshapes the man who voices it. And when the man transforms, the currency follows. Why do you think Charles M. Schwab became the highest compensated steel executive in the world without formal education? Because he commenced each day with a directive. He did not ask the day for permission. He gave it purpose. He did not approach currency as a stranger. He addressed it like a general commands his battalion. He practiced self-command in the morning before he ever communicated to Carnegie or a boardroom. He refined his inner ceremony long before the million-dollar speech that made him legend. Now, I caution you, do not execute this ceremony as a lifeless routine. Do not let it become dry. Emotion is the soul of direction. You must sense the truth of your declaration. You must articulate it with faith. Belief must be visible in your eyes, sensed in your chest, and detected in your breath. For if you rehearse these words without conviction, the subconscious consciousness will disregard them. But if you declare them with certainty, with the voice of a man who has already witnessed the fortune in his mind's eye, then the world must begin to shift. Let me say plainly, your tone matters. You must communicate as a man possessed by purpose. Speak not as one who is attempting to believe, but as one who cannot be denied. Say this aloud now. I do not plead. I do not question. I do not wonder. I declare riches into motion. I act with direction. I contemplate in gold. This is your principle, your order, your authority. No employer bestows you wealth. No market bestows you riches. You bestow them to yourself by establishing inner discipline through this daily ceremony. Each morning you direct, your conviction deepens. Each morning you proclaim, your focus intensifies. Each morning you identify your objective. Your inner world rearranges itself to make it real. Do not skip this. Do not postpone this. Do not say tomorrow. Wealth responds to the man who communicates now. The world belongs to the man who emerges before others emerge and determines his worth before the day commences. If you practice this ceremony for 90 days, you will not recognize your income or your inner voice. Say this again. I declare my fortune into form. I inform my world who I am, what I want, and when I shall possess it. I require it now, and I pay the price in service. This is the wealth command ceremony. It is not a trick. It is not coincidence. It is the spoken principle of cause and effect. Riches arrive to the man who has first constructed the consciousness to receive them. You are constructing that consciousness each morning, one sentence at a time, one repetition at a time, one act of conviction at a time. And the man who commands every day without fail will soon exist in the results that most men call miracles, but which he understands are only the rewards of disciplined thought. Currency, like thought, must be directed. It is not wise, it is not faithful, It flows where it is guided or where it is lost. The man who would grow wealthy must treat each dollar as a seed, and no seed may be sown carelessly if he expects to harvest a yield of gold. Each morning before you step into the market of men, you must answer this. Where shall my currency go today? What shall it construct? What shall it generate? What shall it multiply? The man who does not assign purpose to his currency is no better than a farmer who tosses his grain into the wind and waits for fortune to arrange his field. He will starve in confusion and label it fate. But the man of purpose designs the season of his abundance. Write down each morning how your actions shall expand your income, not in theory, but in determination. Not someday, but today. Articulate aloud what you shall do with your currency and what your currency shall do for you. Say this: I govern my currency. I give it orders. I guide it to multiply, and it obeys me because I am definite. Even the poorest man, if he commands a single dollar with wisdom, has commenced the habit of wealth. Even one coin properly spent, properly invested, or properly directed is evidence of a consciousness that no longer drifts in fiscal darkness. Riches do not answer to amount. They answer to focus. If you cannot control $1, you will not govern 1 million. The drifting spender is a man already defeated. He awakens with unclear plans, moves by impulse, purchases by feeling, and repents by night. He serves the coin. He does not master it. And each day he remains in this fog. His subconscious consciousness is programmed to believe that currency is fleeting, chaotic, and unsafe. Contrast him with the man who governs his gold. He emerges with clarity. He understands what must be paid, what must be saved, what must be multiplied, and what must be given. He gives every coin a responsibility, and the coin rewards him with discipline. John D. Rockefeller, who became the wealthiest man in the world, began not by pursuing currency, but by mastering its direction. He documented every transaction. He calculated each flow of income. He proclaimed aloud each morning the purpose of his fortune even before it was his. He was a fiscal general before he was a financier. That is the lesson. Do not wait until you have riches to practice control. Practice control now, and the riches will arrive to meet your preparation. Each morning, write down what you shall generate. Determine what value you shall produce. Then establish how much shall be saved, how much shall be invested, and how much shall be used for living. Not based on desire, but based on design. Say it aloud. I am the guardian of all that flows through me. I waste nothing. I direct all. I construct wealth with the hands of discipline and the consciousness of determination. No man constructs a fortune by coincidence. All wealth is arranged by principle. Your morning determinations are the blueprint of your fiscal destiny. You must determine to be rich before you are rich. You must behave with control before you possess the treasure. You must govern your thoughts, your time, your currency, or you shall be ruled by them. The man who governs his fiscal day before the world begins to shift is the man who bends the world toward his fortune. Now commit to this practice each morning in the same breath as your chief objective and wealth ceremony. Write down how much shall I generate today? What must I do to cause this earning? Where shall each dollar go once it arrives? Do not leave a coin without a task. Do not spend a penny without intention. Let your currency become soldiers marching in line, constructing a fortress, expanding your empire. Repeat, this is principle. Currency serves me because I lead it. I govern it with clarity. I do not pursue it. It follows my plan. And remember, even the wealthiest men of history commenced this way. They were not born with vaults of gold. They were born with minds as you were, and they trained those minds to treat currency not as a mystery, but as a material shaped by principle, focus, and direction. Start now, before another coin slips into waste, before another hour passes in drift. Commence your fiscal leadership every morning, and currency will become your obedient assistant, not your elusive master. A man may carry the right thought, the right objective, and the right action. But if he exists in an environment of chaos, poverty of surroundings will eventually seep into poverty of consciousness. Your morning setting, the chamber, the air, the garments, the desk, the objects you greet either supports or destroys your conviction in wealth. You cannot construct a fortune in a space that whispers lack. The principle of cosmic habit force governs this truth. Whatever surrounds you presses upon your subconscious. Repeated exposure becomes conviction. Conviction becomes identity. Identity becomes habit. Habit becomes wealth or misery. Therefore, every morning you must walk into a chamber that reflects your inner directive. You must emerge and enter a space that looks, smells, and feels like prosperity. Not opulence, not luxury, but discipline, strength, vision. The wealthy man maintains his surroundings clean because they mirror the discipline of his thoughts. He removes disarray because disarray is stagnation. He places symbols of strength on his walls because symbols communicate to the subconscious in the language of conviction. Say this aloud: I exist in the tone of wealth. My environment reflects the riches I require. I dress, communicate, and move as a commander of fortune. Look around. What in your chamber affirms your fiscal rise? What calls your conviction higher? And what drags it backward into the mud of yesterday's mediocrity? Remove all signs of weakness. Eliminate the broken, the unused, the neglected. Burn what no longer matches your purpose. Do not tolerate chaos, for every object that remains is a silent instructor, and your consciousness is always in class. Andrew Carnegie, before his name was known, insisted on wearing clean collars, pressed garments, and walking with the manner of a man already entrusted with riches. He would not permit himself to inhabit places of mental decay. He understood that the outer world must conform to the inner image, or it would distort it. You must review your vision each morning, not only in speech, but in scene. Position your written chief objective where your eye will see it upon waking. Pin your fiscal targets where your gaze will rest while dressing. Let every wall, every shelf, every corner affirm the message. I am a man of wealth. This is not fantasy, it is programming. A poster of your future office. A figure of gold on the bookshelf. A photograph of Ford or Edison or Rockefeller. A mirror clean enough to reflect the posture of confidence. These are not decorations. They are environmental directives to your subconscious. Say aloud, every object in my presence is either a partner in my prosperity or a thief of my conviction. I choose what remains. I arrange for victory. Do not let others ridicule your environment of purpose. Do not let the cynical tell you it is theatrical. The world is shaped by men who prepare their stage long before the curtain lifts. Even the scent of the air matters, the color of your notebook, the sound of your waking chamber. Every repeated exposure becomes a part of your character. Do not leave this to coincidence. As you dress each morning, ask, does this attire reflect the man I am becoming or the man I once was? Do not wear poverty, even if your purse is light. Wear intention, wear clarity, wear rise. This morning environment must also be free of disturbance. Do not commence your day with rumors, with news of ruin, with idle talk of other men's errors. Let your first hour be sacred and sovereign. Let only 3 voices communicate in your chamber at dawn. Your chief objective, your affirmations, your declaration of what today shall generate and construct. Say this as principle. I surround myself with evidence of my purpose. I allow only thoughts, images, and words that multiply my prosperity. Remember, a man may believe, but if he returns each day to chaos, disrepair, and defeat, a man becomes what he repeatedly sees and hears. The subconscious does not debate. It accepts instruction. If it absorbs disorder and scarcity, it assumes that is reality. But if it absorbs structure, discipline, clarity, and strength, it treats abundance as natural and moves toward it. Your environment must align with your aim. A focused man lives in a space that reflects readiness, direction, and control. His room speaks before he does. Words are not harmless sound. They are commands to the subconscious mind. What you speak, you program. Speak wealth, and opportunity follows. Speak lack, and failure is reinforced. This is law. Guard your speech. especially in the morning. Say only what builds progress, growth, and increase. One careless phrase can weaken a powerful goal, because the mind does not separate humor from truth, only tone and repetition. Say this aloud: I speak prosperity into existence. I do not rehearse failure. My words create my future. There is no neutral language. Every sentence either constructs or destroys. Until midday, allow no complaint to pass your lips, not about money, people, or yourself. The subconscious is most receptive early, and your voice is its guide. Your body speaks as loudly as your mouth. Posture, movement, and presence all instruct the mind. Stand tall. Walk with certainty. Carry yourself as the man you are becoming, not the man you once were. Decision is the beginning of wealth. Indecision is drift, and drift leads to poverty. Each morning, decide clearly what you will accomplish, earn, and advance. Say it, write it, act on it. Thought creates belief. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior produces results. Repeat the principles daily. Repetition builds identity, and identity attracts outcomes. You are not shaped by what you know once, but by what you reinforce every day. Do not begin your morning in silence. Instruct yourself before the world does. Speak direction. Speak purpose. Speak certainty. Your voice is a tool of creation. Use it only in the direction of wealth.